Good morning, grade 4. A warm welcome to the English class. In the previous class, we learned the poem, The People Upstairs, and we discussed a few exercises from the chapter. Today, we'll discuss the rest of the exercise. We are going to start with the vocabulary section. Please turn to page number 36 in your textbook. Do you see the heading? Now, first we'll discuss the vocabulary section, then we'll discuss the dictionary skills, then we'll discuss the writing exercise, and afterwards we'll discuss the My Word Bank exercise. Now, in the vocabulary section in your textbook, do you see a small note given there? And here it is mentioned about using words as nouns and verbs. And here there is a small note that describes about the usage of words as nouns and verbs. Let's read the note. Please look at your textbook. Some words are pronounced the same but spelled differently. They also have different functions in a sentence. For example, we need a lot of practice, and the second sentence is I will practice before the performance. Now in the first sentence, we need a lot of practice. Do you notice the spelling of the word practice? It's P-R-A-C-T-I-C-E. Here the word practice is used as a noun. And in the second sentence, I will practice before the performance. Notice the spelling of the word practice there. Here the word practice ends with I-S-E, not I-C-E. So when it ends with I-S-E, it means it is a verb. Now in these two sentences, the word practice is pronounced the same but spelled differently, and they are used in different contexts. So here we have an exercise and it reads, read these sentences, write if the underlined words are nouns or verbs. So this exercise is about using words with same pronunciation but different spellings that refer to different meanings. Let's see the first one. My teacher advised us to go to the playground. What you have to do is that, see the underlined word here, advised. Now you have to identify whether advised is used as a noun or a verb. Can you identify it? Advised is a verb. Now observe the rest of the sentences given under the question, and you have to identify whether the underlined word there is used as a noun or a verb, and you have to write there in the blank space provided there. I hope this is clear to you. If you are done with that, let's move on to the next section, and this is about the use of if only phrase. See, we use the if only phrase to express a wish that something had happened or would happen, and it is also used to imply a condition. For example, if only I had left the house 10 minutes earlier, I would have gotten to the store before they closed. So here the person is wishing that if he or she had reached the shop 10 minutes earlier, they could have reached the shop before the shop closed. So there is a small note given in your textbook regarding the use of if only phrase. Please look at your textbook. Let's read the note. Look at the phrase if only in the last line of the poem. Let's read that line. In the poem, the last line says, if only they lived on another floor. So that line expresses a wish, a longing for something. It also implies a condition. And what was that condition? In the poem, the poet says, I might love the people upstairs more if only they lived on another floor. So here the poet is wishing. He is wishing that his neighbors who lived upstairs lived on some other floor, so that they won't give any disturbance to him, and then he would have been able to love them more. So here are a few more example sentences given. If only I had more pocket money, I would spend more in the canteen. If only I had another week, I would have prepared for this examination better. If only my sister loved traveling, we would have gone on holidays every year. So I hope now you are clear with how to use the if only phrase. Now there is an exercise mentioned below the note. It says, write two sentences using the phrase if only. So you have to frame two sentences that use the if only phrase and write in the space provided here. If that is clear, let's move on to the next section. And this is about dictionary skills. And it mentions about the use of French words in the English language. There is a small note in the textbook, page number 37. Look at the textbook. Let's read the note. Read this line. The people upstairs all practice ballet. Ballet is a French word. Over the years, the English language has borrowed a number of words and expressions from French. So, the word ballet used in the poem is a French word. There are a lot of French words that we use in English language in our everyday speech. Have you heard any of them? So, here there is a question mentioned. It says, check each word in a dictionary and write its meaning. So, here a few French words or phrases are given. You have to use a dictionary and find the meaning of these and write in the space provided. If needed, you can use an online dictionary, but make sure you do that only in the presence of your parents. For example, the first one, adieu. Adieu means to bid farewell, to say goodbye. So, adieu is a French word. Now, find the meaning of the rest of the phrases given here and complete that exercise. If that is clear to you, let's move on to the next section. This is the writing exercise. And here, this is about dialogue writing. The question says, you and your friends had broken the neighbor's window. Complete the conversation you had with your neighbor, Mrs. Gupta. You could use phrases such as, we are extremely sorry, we did not wish to cause, we were playing cricket, and so on. So here, you are asked to imagine that you and your friends had broken your neighbor Mrs. Gupta's window. So that was an accident. You did a mistake by accident. So when you do a mistake, you should apologize, right? So here, you have to imagine that conversation and write the dialogues. A sample beginning of the conversation is given here. You say, good afternoon, Mrs. Gupta. And Mrs. Gupta says, good afternoon, dear. How can I help you? Then you say, I came here to tell you that it was our ball, and then you have to imagine the situation and complete the conversation. So you can write that conversation in your notebook and complete the exercise. If that is clear, let's move on to the next section. This is the My Word Bank exercise. Now here you have to write the new words that you have learned in this poem. So whichever words you felt new when we learned the poem, The People Upstairs, those words and their meanings can be written in your notebook. You can write those words here in the space provided in the textbook, and you can write the words along with their meanings in your notebook. You can find the meanings of those words with the help of a dictionary. So children, are all these questions clear to you? Now let me remind you the homework for the day. You have to read the poem again, complete all the exercise we mentioned here, and then submit your answers in Microsoft Teams. So that's all for today. We will meet in the next class with a new chapter. Till then, bye.